There are moments in automotive history when a machine arrives that feels less like transportation and more like a declaration. Sleek forms carved not just for speed, but for presence. An object meant to ignite desire while carrying the weight of engineering ambition. You see it in the way light bends across polished bodywork, in the sound that resonates from a finely tuned engine, in the promise that behind the handlebars or the wheel lies an experience sharper and more emotional than the everyday. It is never just about horsepower or numbers on a spec sheet. It is about what those numbers mean when unleashed on the open road, about how design and performance intertwine to create something unforgettable. And every once in a while, a lineup comes along that dares to ask whether tradition can coexist with innovation, whether legacy can adapt to tomorrow's demands without losing its soul. That's the tension, the allure, and the story we're diving into today. So if you're ready for a deep journey into one of the most fascinating machines of its time, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment on which icon you want us to cover next. The Ducati 2025 lineup is a pivotal chapter in the story of the Italian superbike icon because it represents both a continuation of decades of performance obsession and a recalibration for a rapidly changing world. Ducati has always been about more than motorcycles. It has been about style, national pride, and a certain stubborn refusal to compromise on emotion in pursuit of pure efficiency. With the 2025 models, the company stands at a crossroads, still rooted in its heritage of desmodromic engines, aggressive lines, and championship-winning DNA, yet also pressured by global regulations, shifting consumer tastes, and the push toward electrification. What makes this moment so fascinating is not just the new hardware, but the decisions and trade-offs that led to it. To understand the Ducati 2025 lineup, you have to step back and look at the arc that brought it here, the cultural weight Ducati carries in Italy and abroad, and the expectations that American riders in particular bring to the brand. Ownership of a Ducati has always meant something different compared to owning another manufacturer's sport bike. It was about buying into a lifestyle, an aura, a sense of belonging to an elite tribe of riders. That cultural appeal has carried Ducati through eras of financial instability, takeovers, and intense competition, yet the aura remains intact. For 2025, Ducati had to ask itself how to evolve that aura in a world where young buyers demand connectivity, safety tech, and practicality alongside adrenaline. That is where design intent becomes so critical. Ducati's designers have always been sculptors of speed. The Panigale family, for instance, wasn't just an exercise in aerodynamics, but a conscious attempt to build the most beautiful race-derived machine for the street. With the 2025 iteration, that aesthetic is still there, but what's beneath it reveals the push-pull tension Ducati is navigating. Every engineering choice reflects a compromise. A lighter chassis saves tenths on the track, but costs more to manufacture. Electronics bring new safety and tuning flexibility, but risk diluting the raw mechanical purity that purists adore. Even seat height, handlebar position, and exhaust note are considered through the lens of balancing tradition with usability. For American buyers, those trade-offs matter. US roads and riding culture differ sharply from Europe. There are fewer opportunities to exploit a 200 horsepower bike on a daily commute. So Ducati's 2025 lineup had to address not just peak performance, but also comfort and flexibility, without alienating the riders who will never forgive the brand for softening its edge. That dual mission shows up in the multi-strata range too, which continues to straddle the line between long-distance practicality and spirited riding. Touring riders in the States expect durability and convenience. Ducati insists on delivering charisma and precision. The end result is a machine that tries to wear both hats, which is never easy. What often gets overlooked is how Ducati owners live with these bikes. Maintenance schedules, service costs, and the unique quirks of Desmo valve adjustments are as much a part of the Ducati ownership story as the thrill of a Sunday canyon ride. With the 2025 lineup, Ducati has worked to refine reliability and streamline upkeep, yet the reputation for higher-than-average maintenance remains. That's part of the mystique. Owning a Ducati has always been about passion first, rationality second. And for 2025, Ducati is leaning into that identity more than ever. As the lineup unfolds, you begin to see the pattern. Every design and engineering choice is an answer to a bigger question about what Ducati should be in the 21st century. Should it double down on racing heritage and dare riders to meet the machine on its terms? Or should it soften the edges just enough to bring new customers into the fold without losing its die-hard base? Those decisions are written into the lines of the 2025 bikes. and they set the stage for the market reception and competitive challenges that would soon follow, because launching a bold lineup is one thing, but convincing the world it belongs is another. That's where the story really begins to heat up. The Ducati 2025 lineup enters the market at a time when expectations are sky high and competition is relentless, and the way it is received will ultimately decide whether these machines are remembered as breakthroughs or missteps. From the moment the Panigale updates were unveiled, riders and critics alike debated whether Ducati had found the sweet spot between refinement and aggression. The Panigale has long been the poster child of Ducati's racing heritage, and in 2025 it takes another evolutionary leap, lighter, sharper, with electronics that promise greater control without neutering the experience. The challenge is convincing riders that advanced rider aids are there to enhance, not replace, skill, because Ducati enthusiasts have historically taken pride in the rawness of the ride. Beyond the Panigale, the Multistrada's latest iteration shows Ducati's awareness of broader market demands. American riders in particular want touring capability without giving up the thrill of spirited performance. That balancing act has fueled strong initial interest, but also skepticism from purists who argue Ducati risks diluting its identity. This tension echoes across Ducati forums, dealership floors, and group rides. Every upgrade sparks debate. And then there is the elephant in the room, electrification. While Ducati has committed to electrics in the future, the 2025 lineup remains firmly combustion-based, with only hints of hybrid experimentation. In Europe, regulators are pressuring manufacturers to accelerate toward zero-emission solutions. While in the US the conversation is more fractured, riders here still overwhelmingly want the soundtrack of a combustion engine. Ducati's choice to delay a fully electric flagship is strategic, but it comes with risks. Wait too long and the brand could look outdated. Move too soon and it risks alienating its loyalists. Ducati's competition has not been idle either. Another manufacturer may prioritize affordability, another may lean into extreme horsepower, while yet another doubles down on practical features. Ducati sits apart, charging premium prices for motorcycles that promise something intangible: soul, charisma, and racing DNA. That premium positioning makes market reception even more critical, because every flaw is amplified when the buy-in is so high. In the US, buyers see Ducati as an aspirational brand. Owning one says something about who you are, not just what you ride. That cultural cachet keeps the brand resilient, even when reliability concerns or high service costs linger in the background. Aftermarket culture further amplifies Ducati's allure. The 2025 lineup is tailor-made for personalization: exhaust systems, carbon fiber add-ons, ECU tunes. Riders rarely leave their bikes stock, and Ducati knows this. Its accessory catalog is as carefully curated as the motorcycles themselves. For enthusiasts, tuning and customizing are not optional. They are part of the ownership ritual. That ecosystem strengthens Ducati's grip on its base, ensuring that the 2025 models are not just motorcycles, but canvases for individuality. Still, Ducati cannot escape the global spotlight. In motorsport, its dominance reinforces the credibility of its street lineup, because success on the track has always been one of Ducati's most potent marketing tools. The 2025 Panigale's racing influence is not just cosmetic, it's a direct transfer of technology and strategy, keeping the lineage alive. For American fans watching MotoGP or World SBK, that connection validates the high price of entry. In short, the reception of the Ducati 2025 lineup is not simply about sales figures, it's about cultural resonance, competitive standing, and whether Ducati can continue to embody the passion that made it a legend. And those stakes bring us to the final act of this story: why the 2025 lineup matters not just today, but in defining the future of Ducati's identity. The Ducati 2025 lineup ultimately matters because it tests the very identity of the brand, whether the motorcycles in this family can bridge the past and the future without losing the essence that made Ducati legendary. The Panigale 2025 is a clear statement in this regard. It keeps the visceral character of its predecessors while integrating electronics that let more riders safely explore its limits. In many ways, it is Ducati's most delicate balancing act yet, an answer to the question of whether raw emotion can coexist with digital precision. The Multistrada 2025 extends this experiment into another dimension: long-distance performance. For riders in the United States, this model has always been the most accessible Ducati, a machine that proves Italian flair can meet practical needs. The 2025 version refines comfort, range, and usability without letting go of the brand's DNA, ensuring that buyers who want adventure don't feel like they're choosing compromise. This lineup also raises bigger questions about legacy. Ducati has built its reputation on combustion engines with distinctive character, and in 2025 that heritage continues, even as whispers of hybrid or electric concepts loom in the background. For purists, this is a relief. It means one more chapter where the roar of a desmodromic motor is still the centerpiece. But for forward-looking enthusiasts, it's a reminder that change is inevitable, and Ducati's eventual shift to electrification will redefine what passion sounds and feels like. That tension is precisely why the 2025 lineup is so significant. It is both a gift to the loyalists and a blueprint for the next era, showing how Ducati intends to manage evolution without erasing identity. For collectors, these bikes may one day be remembered as the last of their kind, machines that delivered peak combustion performance before the industry turned a corner. For riders today, they are a chance to experience that legacy firsthand while still enjoying the benefits of modern refinement. And for Ducati as a company, this lineup is a declaration. The brand will continue to lead not by chasing trends, but by shaping them. That is the impact of the Ducati 2025 lineup. It is less about individual models and more about what they collectively symbolize, a statement of resilience, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of what makes a superbike an icon. The Ducati 2025 lineup is not just a collection of new motorcycles. It is a reflection of everything the brand has fought to preserve, adapt, and redefine. For American riders, the key takeaway is that these bikes remain aspirational but are more versatile than ever. The Panigale 2025 gives you the sharpest edge of race technology without sacrificing everyday usability, while the Multistrada 2025 continues to prove that long-distance adventure can still carry unmistakable Italian flair. Ownership realities remain part of the story. Maintenance is still more demanding than rivals. Parts and service carry a premium, and Ducati expects you to invest in the brand as much as you ride it. Yet those costs are part of the experience, a reminder that Ducati has always been about passion first and pragmatism second. Pricing in the US keeps Ducati firmly in the premium segment, and availability can be limited, but that scarcity only adds to the allure. For collectors, the 2025 lineup may one day be remembered as the closing chapter of the purely combustion era, making these machines potential future icons. For enthusiasts looking to buy today, the advice is simple: know what you're getting into. These are not appliances, they are instruments, meant to be ridden hard, maintained carefully, and appreciated deeply. In a marketplace that increasingly values convenience and conformity, Ducati 2025 stands as a counterpoint, insisting that motorcycles should stir the soul as much as they move the body. That is the ultimate payoff of this lineup, proof that a brand can evolve without surrendering the fire that made it great. And in the end, the Ducati 2025 lineup reminds us of one thing above all: being an icon means never settling for ordinary.